It was terrible. Star Trek. Picard showrunner explains why original cast wasn't in season 3. When Star Trek. Picard premiered, it promised something unusual, a deeply personal epilogue for Jean-Luc Picard rather than a nostalgic reunion tour. Seasons 1 and 2 introduced an almost entirely new supporting cast, new conflicts, and a darker tone far removed from the Next Generation. Then season 3 arrived, and suddenly the bridge of the Enterprise felt like home again. The full crew of Star Trek. The Next Generation reunited for what many fans consider one of modern Star Trek's greatest comeback seasons. But that triumphant reunion came with a surprising cost. Most of Picard's original characters disappeared. According to showrunner Terry Matalas, making that decision was emotionally painful and, in his own words, terrible. The harsh reality behind season 3. Fans often assume the creative team simply pivoted toward nostalgia after mixed reactions to the first 2 seasons. The truth was far less glamorous. Matalas revealed that season 3 faced a fundamental production limitation. There simply wasn't enough budget to keep everyone. He explained that the earlier seasons already had a large ensemble, and bringing back the entire Next Generation crew meant difficult sacrifices had to be made. As he put it, there wasn't the budget to carry them all, calling the situation a terrible place to be in. Comicbook.com+1. This wasn't about dissatisfaction with actors or characters. Quite the opposite. The showrunner repeatedly emphasized that the season 1 to 2 cast were wonderful, but television production is ultimately governed by contracts, schedules, and financial reality, especially on a visually expensive franchise like Star Trek. In short, Picard season 3 couldn't be both shows at once. Why season 3 needed a different focus? From the moment Matalas took full control of season 3, he envisioned something radically different. A true final chapter for Picard's life. Instead of continuing fragmented storylines introduced earlier, he wanted one cohesive emotional ending, not just for Picard, but for the entire Enterprise D family. His pitch to Patrick Stewart was simple but powerful. What if Picard's final adventure reunited the people who defined his legacy? That meant shifting narrative priority away from newer characters like Elnor, Jurati, and Rios, and toward lifelong relationships with Riker, Crusher, Worf, Troy, LaForge, and Data. The result was effectively a serialized Season 8 of The Next Generation, something fans had wanted for decades. But storytelling focus demands space, and television seasons only have so many episodes. The emotional cost of cutting characters. What makes Matalas' comments striking is how openly regretful he sounds. Showrunners rarely admit how painful casting decisions can be, yet he described the process as deeply uncomfortable. These weren't failed characters. They were casualties of logistics. Actors including Santiago Cabrera, Alison Pill, Evan Evagora, and Isa Briones, all major parts of Picard's identity, suddenly found themselves absent from its final season. Behind the scenes, this meant telling performers who helped launch the series that the story had moved in another direction. Creatively necessary? Yes. Emotionally easy? Not even close. Nostalgia wasn't the original plan. Ironically, Picard began with the opposite philosophy. Early development intentionally avoided heavy reliance on the Next Generation. Producers wanted newcomers unfamiliar with 1990s Star Trek to enjoy the show without homework. Only later did the creative team realize something essential was missing: closure. The TNG crew's last major appearance together, 2002 as Star Trek, Nemesis, never felt like a proper goodbye. Season 3 became an opportunity to finally deliver that farewell decades later. Wikipedia. So the reunion wasn't fan service alone. It was unfinished business. Why the gamble worked. Despite the painful casting cuts, the creative gamble paid off spectacularly. Season 3 earned widespread acclaim, with critics praising it as the emotional ending Picard deserved. Review aggregators recorded near universal approval, with many reviewers highlighting the restored confronting legacy. Passing the torch to a new generation. The return of the Enterprise D itself symbolized that thematic shift. The past wasn't replacing the future, it was giving it meaning. The needs to.